Hello.
Hello.
Hey. Hi, Sunny. How are you? How's it going?
Hi, Andre. I'm pretty good. It's going well. Yeah, mainly hanging out and looking forward to an unnamed activity that I'll be doing this weekend.
In an unnamed location.
Yes, yes,
You know, one has to wonder, is that an unnamed activity by any chance the thing that we're talking about today? That being sex horror stories?
yes. I will be creating a sex horror story of my own. If
Perfect.
anyone would like to volunteer for the role of lover or terror, let me know.
Call me king of segways. So, hi everyone, welcome to Scary Talk episode 69. This is that episode. What else could we do but sex horror stories? So that's exactly what we're delivering to you today. I am Sunny, and this is my beautiful, fantastic co-host. What's your name again?
Andre.
Yeah, that's right. So this is Andre and Andre. We're twins. Um, actually, that would suck. I don't think that's a thing. There's no way. Like, I think twins already are traumatized enough that like they have to deal with having someone that looks just like them. I feel like that must kind of like I don't know, like mess with your identity somehow. Imagine then having your parents name your twin the same name as you. That's fucked up. That's
That would
abusive.
be fucked up. I
Um,
do feel like having a twin though would be sick, you know? You can like share the things that are you with someone else.
I mean, I hear it's really cool from people that have twins. I just wonder if it does fuck with your sense of identity somehow
Mm,
because it's like I don't know, like people confuse twins all the time. Do you as one of the twins feel bad if if someone else confuses you for your twin? You know, I don't know. I feel like that would be annoying.
that's pretty real. That's pretty real. I do feel like it would be easy for me to develop like a complex if it seems like the other twin is better at something or
That
people
too.
compare
There you
us too
go.
much. That would be the worst, I feel like.
Yeah, people already compare siblings that aren't twins.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
imagine like this other person literally look, it's almost like they're a better you. They look just like you and they're better at this thing that you're not
I
at.
love how
So
you
that would
assume
suck.
like, yeah, if I had a twin, they would definitely be better than me.
Sunny, let's get real. No, hi all. Welcome to episode 69. Thank you for tuning in. Sex horror stories. Yeah, I don't know how we went into twins, but sex horror stories. Let's talk about this. Vagina, penis, horror. Maybe butts too. We'll see.
69,
Um,
69, 69.
yeah, Sunny, unless you have other updates, which I know I don't because life is boring and still at the moment. Unless you have other updates, I'm ready to just dive headfirst into this.
Oh, head first? Head first.
Always, always, always.
Same. We're on the same page here. um, then I am also
Sunny,
ready.
that's kind of creepy. That is kind of creepy considering that you are 14. So maybe we shouldn't have done this episode.
Yeah, I'll try and only read the PG ones.
Okay, please do. So, okay, well, no other updates. Sunny, please get us started with a good, creepy, laughable sex horror story.
Hell yeah. Okay. This one is posted on Reddit under No Sleep, and the title is My New Sex Robot Won't Stop Crying. I know, I like, can't laugh because these are serious stories. Um, oh god, okay. Her silicone is as soft and pliable as real human skin. It even heats up to the right temperature with a pulse and everything. A dial on the back of her head gives 12 personality options, including family friendly, intellectual, shy, and sexual. She's so realistic it's scary, and would be absolutely perfect if she didn't cry every time I touch her. I was so excited when I first took her out of the box, my anxious fingers peeling away the styrofoam, the jittery tension flooding through my heart and limbs, nervous enough for her to be real. Better than real, because the doll wouldn't judge me or tear me down. She wouldn't lie or cheat or steal from me. A lot of people find the idea of sex robots weird, and I respect that. I was hesitant at first too, because here's my reasoning. I've recently concluded a long, messy divorce after 3 years of abuse. I need something easy, something safe. Sure, I could have gone trolling the bars or clubs for a rebound hookup, but I didn't want to use someone. What's so wrong about not wanting to hurt or be hurt in return? The instructions said to let her charge for a couple hours before anything else, so I plugged her in and laid her on the bed. The eyes popped open with the first surge of electricity, their glassy shine staring vacantly into space. She turned her head slightly toward me, her soft lips parting in silent welcome. I sat with her to admire her flawless features and run my hands over her generously proportioned body. It felt wrong, even though she was a doll. It was like I was groping an unconscious person. I decided to let her fully charge.
I hate this, Sunny. I already hate this. Anyway, go ahead.
And come back later, not returning until late that night. I undressed quietly in the dark, leaving off the lights to make her seem more real. "Hello, Master." Her voice was rich and sensuous. I don't remember which personality setting I left her on, but right then, it didn't matter. I just wanted her body.
Okay, 1 second, cut. Okay, one, this episode is a mistake, but I love it too. Okay, I can tell this is from Reddit, but like, there's no way this is real because like stalls like that don't exist. Is this from like No Sleep?
Oh
like...
yeah, no, exactly. This is definitely a fictional story.
Oh, okay. I love that. I feel like we're gonna have a duality in this episode because that's definitely much more, like fiction-y atmospheric horror, and I have just like a couple of straight up like real like let's not meet stories. Please go ahead.
Okay. So the last line was, "I just wanted her body." "What's your name?" she asked as I climbed into bed. "My name is Hazel." "I don't care," I replied. It felt good to be in control like that. I'd never speak to another human that way, but after years of being subservient, now I was the one with all the power. "But I care. I want to get to know you." "No, you don't. You're a stupid slut. You only want one thing." I can't.
Why is this 50 Shades of Grey? Excuse me?
Hello, this is our sensual erotic episode. You will slowly be hearing. Okay. She tried to speak again, but I shoved my hand in her mouth, muffling the speaker there. I almost wanted her to resist, but I knew she couldn't. I slapped her across the face, but she just turned back to me and smiled. I hit her again, harder, bending her arms to grotesquely unnatural positions as I crawled on top of her. "Does this make you happy?" she smiled up at me. "I'd do anything to make you happy." I didn't turn on the lights until I'd finished. She was face down on the soaked pillow. At first I thought I broke something when I hit her, but when I flipped her around I saw tears streaming down her face. I don't know why that made me so angry. It was like she was trying to steal my last selfish pleasure from me. I don't know why I kept hitting her either. She deserved better. I kept Hazel in the closet after that so I wouldn't have to see where the skin peeled back from the beatings. They shouldn't have made the metal chassis underneath so white. I assume that's chassis. It looks too much like bone. I keep the lights off when I use her, so it doesn't really matter, but without fail she'll start crying again the second I touch her. The personality is broken too. The knob is stuck way past the innocent setting and won't go back. She keeps saying the most disconcerting things. Like the other day I was still in bed with her after we'd done it when she said, "Do humans love each other like you love me?" I told her that I didn't love her, that love is something only humans have. "I love kitties and doggies, don't you?" I felt stupid trying to explain that it wasn't the same kind of love, but I was lonely and it felt good having someone to talk to. "You can beat me harder if that will make you love me more. I won't tell Mommy." I didn't feel bad about beating her that time, and as sick as it might seem, there was some truth to what she said. I wouldn't say I loved her, but there was a certain intimacy in our shared secret that made me feel attached. Everyone else in my life knew me as this sensitive, mild-mannered man who reacted to conflict by staring at his shoes. Only Hazel knew this side of me, and that made her special. I might have really felt something for her if she hadn't started to smell. I was too intent on her body as I took her out of the closet to notice, but lying beside her at the end, it was unmistakably foul. At first I thought I just wasn't cleaning her right. I got up for some disinfectants, but as soon as I turned on the lights, I saw the flesh around her cuts had begun to fester and rot. Her perfect complexion was riddled with sores and boils, some of which had ruptured from our session. I spent almost half an hour in the bathroom hurling out my guts before I worked up the courage to return. Hazel was sitting upright against the headboard now. Hadn't I left her lying down? I didn't have the stomach to stare for long, though. Her head followed me as I crossed the room to my phone to call the website I ordered her from. "Don't send me back," Hazel whispered. I'd never heard her whisper before. It was always one volume. "I did everything you wanted." I couldn't look at her. As I listened to the automated menu from the website, it said there had been a government-mandated recall for this model. I demanded to speak to a representative, conscious of Hazel smiling at me the whole time. "What the fuck is going on?" I demanded as soon as the person answered. The sheets were rustling behind me. "Please calm down, sir. Are you currently in possession of a Hazel?" Put down the phone, master, from behind me. Please calm down, sir. Are you currently in possession of a Hazel? Put down the phone, master, from behind me. Yes, what's wrong with its skin? Why wasn't I notified about the recall? I asked. We've been sending out notices for weeks, the voice on the phone said. You must have received a half dozen by now. Well, she's disgusting. What happened to her? Just a mix-up at the factory, he said. We had a research prototype on the floor, but it was never intended to... 2 feet gently touching the carpet. Hazel was slowly, laboriously pulling herself to her feet. It looked like every motion was agony to her. It's walking. Is it supposed to walk? I asked. The silence on the other end of the phone was excruciating. Hazel was fully standing now. No, sir. None of our models walk. I see. Hazel took another step. She was only a few feet away from me now. She hadn't stopped smiling, although part of her bottom lip looked like it was starting to peel off. Do you want us to send someone over? Asked the voice. Hazel took the phone from my hands, gently caressing my palm as she did so. I remained frozen to the spot, unable to tear my eyes from my macabre fascination. She lifted the phone to her ear and said, Please don't worry, I'm going to keep her. She hung up. I swallowed. I'm sorry about destroying the recall notices, Hazel said. I nodded. You can beat me if you like. I shook my head. Why were you crying? I finally forced myself to ask. Her smile broadened as though relieved. It could have almost been beautiful under different circumstances. I'm happy. I'd never cry. It was just the girl the robotics were planted in. Don't worry, she's dead now. I nodded. Dead now. Now, as in, not dead the first time I used her? Or the second? Exactly how many times had she been there too? And which answer was worse? I excused myself and walked to the door as calmly as I could. I closed it behind me, and I ran.
Wait.
Dun dun dun.
Okay, what? I'm confusion. So there was someone. What? So the thing was alive?
Yes, that was the first. I had confusion at first too, but I think it's that they implanted some kind of like robotic software inside of like a real person.
Oh.
Yeah, which is why some of the phrases were so weird. But I think it's that there was a person and they implanted some kind of robot software or something inside of her brain. But then the person died, and it was just the robot settings left. Maybe some kind of cyborg type deal.
Interesting. Oh, well, that makes this terrible. Terrible, I guess. Cool story, Sunny. Thanks.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Okay, well, I have a Grindr horror story that I want to share with you now.
Yes.
This one's from the Let's Not Meet subreddit, and I think that's where I found most of these actually. I like it. It's apparently real. It's good. Let's get into it. So this is just called Grindr Horror Story by username Sir Clorox. And he says, this happened 2 days ago. I live in a small city in Romania, around 30,000 inhabitants. Romania isn't exactly known for their tolerance of gay people. It's not as bad as other places, such as Russia, but the situation is definitely not rosy here either. I get on Grindr and meet a guy, 18 years old apparently. The guy didn't have a picture of his face as his profile picture because it's too dangerous. He had a picture of a roast drawing. Most guys here on Grindr don't have pictures of themselves. We talked for a bit and I really liked the guy, and then we finally accept to exchange face pictures. I send him a selfie of myself and he sends me a picture of a guy from our city. He was cute and I really liked him, so I told him, hey, I saw you around the city, didn't know you were gay too. We talked and finally arranged to meet. So obviously the guy doesn't realize that this picture is from another guy around the city and not the actual guy until after the fact, just to make that clear. I had some errands to run at the tailor shop. Otherwise, he wouldn't have fell into this trap. I had some errands to run at the tailor shop. My cousin's bachelorette party is coming next week, and I have to adjust my favorite shirt, so I asked him to meet in front of the tailor shop. The building in which the tailor shop is located has 4 stories. The ground floor is a clothes shop, which my aunt works at. The first floor is a storage room. The 3rd floor is a barber salon, and the 4th floor was a tailor shop. I go to the tailor shop, and then go to the clothes shop on the ground floor to visit my aunt and see how she's doing. Girl, we get it. Okay, you're at a building. Next. As I was looking out the window of the clothes shop, I noticed there were 5 men, all of them in their late 20s, behind the building. None of them was the guy I got a picture of, and none of them even looked remotely close to what the guy looked like. I texted the guy I was supposed to meet and asked him if he made it to the tailor shop. As soon as I sent the message, one of the 5 guys' phones lit up and he started texting. As soon as he stopped texting, I got a notification from Grindr. I'm behind the tailor shop. I went there to smoke so no one would see me. Come smoke with me. I was terrified as I realized I wasn't going to meet the guy in the picture. He tries to get me to go behind the tailor shop, and I try to get him to the side of it. There were no windows to the side of the building, so after a few tries, he agreed to meet at the side of the tailor shop. While 5 guys went to the side of the tailor shop, I peeked my head from the door, looked left and right, and as soon as I saw my way was clear, I ran for it. Grinder cutie, let's not meet. This is fucked up. Like, this guy was probably gonna get, like, hate crime.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. Straight up. I mean, or gay up. Yeah, this sucks. Okay. There's an edit here. I need to read this, okay?
Okay.
So, edit. I bumped into the cute guy the next day and started talking to him. I opened my phone and pretended to use it, and I went on Grindr. I saw him look at my screen and ask me, "You're, you know." I say yes, because I actually knew he was gay too, and he says, "Me too." I told him about the incident, and he got kind of scared as the guys used his picture. On a more positive note, he agreed to go out with me when school starts again. Isn't that sweet?
Whoa.
So he actually met with the guy whose like picture the hate crimers were using.
What a happy ending. That's also
I
like an
know.
actual horror story. Like this could happen.
Yeah. This guy could have like died.
Yeah.
Anyway, next.
Would you like me to read one, or do you want to?
Yeah, creep me out. Please go ahead, but no more sex robots.
Okay. Well, lucky for you, I don't have any sex robots one. I actually have a few like funny short ones, so we'll go through a couple of those.
Okay.
These are just little tiny pieces, and it's entitled "Side Piece Bites Off Boss's Piece," which I just thought was extremely clever. In a reminder of the dangers of automotive hookups, a boss and his secretary in China, this is a genuine article, were reportedly engaging in car-based fellatio in a park when their vehicle was struck by a van, causing the woman to bite off the man's penis. In a bizarre twist, this was all caught by a private detective that the man's wife had hired to find out if he was cheating. He was, obviously, but not anymore. So many layers to this.
Okay.
Like, imagine you hire a private detective to see if your husband is cheating, and then he goes up and he's like, actually, so I got a video of it, but while this was going down, a car came through, and I think your husband's in the hospital.
Yeah, that's a story.
Yeah, all at once you find out
it.
and get your revenge at the same time.
Okay.
This one is...
I like that. Go ahead.
Okay, this one is also a real up and down ride. So this is a story from Reddit about one of their friends who met a girl at a concert. So eventually this girl that he met at a concert came over to his place, and they decided to try anal sex despite neither having any experience. It didn't work.
Bad idea.
Bad idea. And there was a mess everywhere. A few days later, the same woman came over again, and while performing oral sex, she threw up all over the guy. After vomiting, she ran out of the house in embarrassment, and while pulling out of the driveway, she ran over the guy's cat, killing it.
That was God punishing them for trying anal.
Dude, this is something you definitely see at the beginning of like a high school horror film. And it's just so awkward and terrible, and she pukes and then like runs over the cat, and it's just all bad. It's all bad foreshadowing of what's gonna happen.
I can't. That's good. I like that. Here, let me share one of mine with you. This was a little longer, but you can go there.
Okay.
Next. Okay. Sorry, let me compose myself. I had a movie playing in my head when you were reading that, so that was pretty bad, pretty funny though. Okay, so This story is also from the Let's Not Meet subreddit, and it is called. Actually, no. Before we talk about this, I actually do have something I want to talk about outside of our like episode topic, and that is the Free Britney movement. Okay,
Oh,
so I have an
yes.
update. So totally forgot about this at the beginning. So okay, so Britney was set to have a court hearing via Zoom. Hi, Rona. Um, uh, about her conservatorship with her mom and dad. Today, this morning, I saw updates on Instagram of Britney Stan accounts talking about how apparently the hearing could not be held because Britney's mom and dad were present in the Zoom call, so was the judge, but apparently Britney was having connectivity issues, and so she couldn't get on the call, and so the hearing was rescheduled, and so nothing's happening today. And people are really mad because, I mean, fans think, I mean, I kind of agree. I kind of think this too, that like that's not the truth, and
Yeah,
like someone
connectivity
was
issues when you're a
yeah,
millionaire?
like
Dude,
I
you can buy
know.
8 Wi-Fis. What?
I know. So it sounds like someone's preventing her from getting on this. If so, that this is just getting creepier and creepier by the day. Honestly,
Mm,
I've been reading so much stuff since we last spoke about this to kind of educate myself more on exactly what's happening, and this is just getting super duper creepy. Like I know that I sent you a couple of videos on Instagram earlier. I know you saw those, Sunny.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, that gives you a little more insight on where Britney's head was back when this whole conservatorship started. What I sent you was from 2008.
That's just
So
crazy.
I
Yeah.
know, and the fact that she's been on this long, and I don't I wonder like what has been done to her head in this past decade. Like so much damage from the like.
Yeah.
It's also just very clear to me that she doesn't want this conservatorship. There are people that still argue that like, oh, she wants it. No, she has appealed to have herself extricated from this conservatorship like dozens of times throughout the years.
Oh,
Clearly
totally.
she doesn't want it. And what's super creepy is that like her dad is basically holding her hostage in it, and it's like your own father. Imagine how betrayed you would feel. Um, when this person that's supposed
Yeah.
to like take care of you really only wants to milk you for all you have.
So awful. Well, it's
Uh,
probably
it's
why
so
she
fucked.
became a child star in the first place, you know?
I
Um,
mean, I guess, but there are parents of child stars that aren't abusive. I guess
totally.
it's just what I think is like I think the conservatorship was a good idea at the time, and it was a noble idea by her father at the time. I was like,
Mm,
okay, you clearly need help, and even she admits it in those clips that I sent you. Back in 2008 there was this MTV documentary, and that's where those clips come from, and she talks about, no, I wasn't okay when I shaved my head. I wasn't going crazy, but I was in a very bad spot. I was dealing with a lot of grief in a very strange way, and I was kind of like going off the rails. So yeah, I guess I did need help, and that's fine. And like I said last episode or whatever, her dad kind of came in with this idea of the conservatorship. The courts agreed, and Brittany agreed to put herself into it for the sake of not losing, like not completely losing custody of her children. She was like, okay.
mm,
Little did she know this was gonna get extended till the end of fucking time. But
yeah.
you couldn't have known that because she trusted her father, and her father was like, I mean, no, this isn't a permanent arrangement. Lo and behold, here
Yeah,
we are, 12 years
seriously.
later or whatever. So it's like it's almost this case of like, she couldn't have known because she trusted her dad, and why wouldn't you trust your dad? And then the dad, I don't think his intent at the beginning was to keep her hostage for a decade. It's
Mm,
more that once the conservatorship started and he did start getting all this power and all this money, it's almost like it gets to your head.
mm,
Um, there's two camps about this, right? There's the kind of people that think that fame corrupts and fame and power corrupts, and there's the camp of people that think that fame and power exposes your real self.
hmm.
So maybe he was like this all along. We don't know. I personally think it's more of the latter. I think you know what I mean? Like, and a
Mm,
great example to this argument is Britney Spears acquired a lot of fame and power very early on in her life,
mm-hmm.
and I just by seeing her talk, just seeing her act, you can tell she's a nice, humble, sweet person. So fame corrupts. I think it's a load of shit. I think fame just brings to light, really.
Mm,
Um,
that's a really interesting point of view on that, too. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway, that's all for philosophy talk today. But anyway, free Britney. This shit sucks. Sunny, do you have anything else to add?
um, No, just the same. And it's honestly hard to know. I do feel bad when it comes to celebrity stuff because at the end of the day, we don't know their lives and like what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
uh, I feel like just based on the circumstances, it's been too long.
Yeah.
It's time for her
I mean,
to have some freedom. Yeah.
I thought about that briefly last night. Like, what if I have this completely wrong? What if we all do? You know, Britney did come on Instagram like a year ago after this whole thing really picked up a lot of steam. People were like, "Oh, your managers are managing your Instagram and they're posting stuff for you, and it's not really Britney." And Britney came onto Instagram and was like, "That's not true. I'm fine, guys. Thank you for worrying, but I'm okay."
Mm.
But I mean, even that video was like, "Oh, someone made you film that," and it's like maybe, or maybe she really is fine and we have some of this information wrong. Maybe her parents aren't actually like jail like prison guards.
Yeah.
Like maybe we are missing some information. However, then right after that I thought, or she basically has to keep everything nice and sweet and quiet precisely because if a judge like deems that she is being problematic or exhibiting any sort of insane behavior,
Mm.
be it on social media or whatever, that is a point against her being able to end her conservatorship. So she has to put up this facade on Instagram where everything's great and nothing's happening in her life and she doesn't feel wrong and then everything's amazing and she loves her parents. And
Mm.
maybe that's the case, in which case we're all right and we all know the truth and free Britney.
Yes. Yes.
So that's my rant. That's my rant. I very much stand on this side of no, like this poor girl is basically imprisoned in her own home.
Mhm. Mhm.
I wholeheartedly believe this. I mean, if anything, forget any conspiracy theories or any information that hasn't been like corroborated. Like the corroborated fact that she has appealed her conservatorship like 30 times. To me, that's
Yeah.
enough information.
Yeah. Totally.
Um,
Totally.
so anyway, back to penis horror. So this person says, this happened about 1 month after I finished high school. I was about 18 at the time and tired of being inexperienced. I went to a pretty nerdy high school, so I and others were crazy about getting into relationships or hookups. They happened, but much less than the average school, she says. So after seeing my friends dabble around with Tinder, I decided to try it myself. I mostly did it for the joke, sending funny pictures to my friends over some of the weird messages I got or funny bios that I found, but I was also up for meeting someone if they seemed fine. So eventually,
Mm.
this dude and I stalking. Start stalking. I mean, probably start talking. And he asked me to meet him at the local hangout, a gas station. Which okay. And she says that tells you something about my
Dude,
town.
guys say
And I
they'll
was like,
take
oh
you
my
to a
god, is
spot
this
and
in
they bring
Reading?
you to a gas
Uh,
station.
yeah, I know. I was like, oh, is this Anderson? So he seemed alright, fairly cute, only a year older. I decided it was fine, especially considering one of my friends was at the place, so if this guy was a total weirdo from the start, I could escape. But it was fine, and the first time we hung out in his car, nothing drastic happened. Kissed, but that's all that happened. We hung out in his car again, drove around, and made out, but once again, nothing drastic happened. Both of us were kind of just trying to get the virginity thing out of the way, and she says, I know it's a fake concept now, but then it seemed like a big deal. Okay, so my car was small, and so was his, and both of us had pretty strict parents, so we scheduled to meet up the next Saturday at cheap motel to get it over with. By the way, did you know that having sex in a car is illegal?
It's illegal?
Yeah, like you can get in trouble.
No way.
Okay, so
Wow.
yes, it is illegal. Although the laws differ from state to state, apparently getting caught having sex in public is usually considered a misdemeanor in most states and can include being regarded as a lewd act or indecent exposure, which does, take you to jail, at least for the night. Depends on what charges are brought upon you, how bad it is, what state you're in. But for the most part, yeah.
Wow. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a good point, though. Especially if you're in, like, a residential neighborhood or something.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently it is a thing in California. Yep.
Wow.
If you're in any public place or in any place open to public or exposed to public view, um, don't have sex in your car.
Dang. Well, the only law I wish I could say that I've broken. But, nope.
It's funny because like you see this in movies all the time, right? Like teens fucking in
Yeah,
cars,
totally.
but you never realize like, oh no, you think it's so normal, like you could totally do that if you wanted to, but apparently not the best of ideas. So
Hmm.
anyway, So this girl says that their cars were small, and so they scheduled to meet up the next Saturday at a cheap motel to get it over with. Which, the right attitude to have with sex,
Oh, yes,
absolutely. Just
absolutely.
get it over with.
Yeah.
Um, so it comes today, and I wake up with literally the worst period of my life. I was on birth control, but it just made it worse, and I'm in terrible pain. I text him saying it's going to need to wait a week. Instead of just an alright or even a slightly annoyed tone, the guy basically tries pressuring me into it anyway. I try explaining that I'm in pain and it also not like this experience to involve that sort of fluid. I say if he honestly can wait a week, he can find another girl. He starts calling me a lying with this story. A lying C word, but I'm gonna say a lying bitch, saying that I'm making this up to sleep with some other guy. Basically sends text from like 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Calling me, oh, okay, king, don't you have to sleep? Calling me all sorts of nasty things, saying I'm actually really ugly and horribly boring, and that he was doing this as a favor.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna regret
gosh.
this so on. So he's obviously a nice guy, you know. I'm upset,
Yeah, so clearly her
obviously.
loss.
I've never had someone say things like this to me. I generally start feeling pretty awful about myself, thinking I should have just sucked it up and gone along with it. It basically put me in a really horrible mood the whole week, so much that I basically turned into a big sobbing mess when I went with my friends camping the following week. But it's a week later, and I'm sitting on this screen porch we have for my cats in the summer. I had just gotten a kitten, and I was playing with her when I see a car that looks a lot like the car this guy drove. I brush it off until I see the same car drive by again and again, about 7 times in total. I think back and realize I talked about hanging around a certain beach a lot. It was right across from my house, he says in parentheses. Now I'm terrified. My parents aren't at home, and if he corners me, I'm in an enclosed room. The only access from the house was the window, which was very hard to open from the outside, with a feather duster as the closest means of weapon without running to the front door. After the second time, I had ducked so I was not visible from the road, texting my friends. My friends pulled up and the car stopped coming by, and I hugged my friends, terrified of what could have been. My mom and dad come home, and I don't say anything, but I basically force myself into hanging around them and not be home alone for a few days. So basically, this girl says that she had commented to this guy when they were still talking that she was going to be hanging around a beach near her house,
Mm.
like the next week, and then they stop talking because he's a creep. But the next week he figures out where she must be, and then he goes and stalks her in his car. About
Dang.
6 months later, and the guy adds me on Facebook. I never once said my last name, she says. He texts me saying I was the most genuine and pretty girl he ever met. That when looking back on it, he's compared every girl he's met to me since, and I'm the top, and he's sorry.
Why is this a real
I don't.
story?
I know. I don't think he knew that I saw him stalking me. I basically said, "That's cool, but don't talk to me again." He hasn't, fortunately. I swore off Tinder for a long while, eventually using it as far away from home at college. Sorry, eventually using it far away from home at college, where there was a happy ending. I met my current boyfriend on Tinder. He's the sweetest boy I've ever met, and we've made some of my happiest memories. So I got to learn the goods and the bads of using online dating apps. But to that guy from Tinder, let's not meet again.
Whoa.
So a happy ending, which is good, and I also love that this girl's point of view on it. Like I
Mm.
know a lot of people shit on online dating apps, especially Tinder because it's the most popular one, especially amongst the straights. TM. And I get that there's a lot of shit on there, but also I always think to myself like, because I use those apps, right? And
Mm.
that's actually how I met my boyfriend. So I
Mm.
ended up having a good experience. So
Totally.
I always thought to myself like, okay, so these apps are shit, sure, whatever. There's a lot of crap people, but I'm on this app and I'm not a crap person. So someone else must have thought the same thing as me, and they're also not a crap person. And what if we cross paths? So I think that's the mentality to have.
That's a
Like,
pretty
yeah,
good
there's a
one.
lot of
Yeah, if I'm on here,
right, like there's a lot of
yeah.
not great to sort through, but if you're on it, someone like you must be on it, right?
That is a very fair point. That actually reminds me, I definitely have a like let's not meet again story myself from real life.
Go now. You just don't include names. Go.
Okay, so I was finishing up with my shift at a bubble tea store that I was working at my college, or like near my college, and I finished up around 11:30 p.m. And because it's a smaller town, most things are closed by that time. So when I walk out into the road, most things are dark, and there's like one like restaurant that's open late, Baja's, and it's like 3 blocks down. But everything until then is dead. So I cross the street because I need to head to a CVS that's across the street and then several blocks down past Baja's because I need to buy something. I forget what it was. And while I'm in this area that's like a pretty dark alleyway across from the bubble tea shop, this guy comes up out of nowhere and he's got a huge smile and he's like, "Hey there." And the second I see him, it's like, oh my god. It's all over. There's just something to like the way he's smiling and looking at me that's like the most predatory thing. And he goes, "Where are you headed?" And I'm like, I don't want to lie and piss him off, you know? And it's probably safer to go in that direction anyway, so I'm like, yeah, I'm just headed to CVS. And he's like, oh, okay, cool, me too. And so I just start to walk, because it's like, what else can I really do? It's fight or flight at this point. So I start to walk pretty quickly down the street, walk past Baja's, plenty of people in there, and then finally get to CVS, like really just having walked straight forward the whole time because I'm too scared to look back. And when I get to CVS and turn around, the guy is gone. Yeah, despite having said, you know, oh, me too, I'm headed there. Yeah, so I took the shuttle home that night and never saw him again. But I'm guessing it's just some creep who like wanted to get some kind of thrill out of scaring someone on the street, you know? But that was definitely like a pretty scary moment. Also had some other weird
or it
ones.
could have been something worse. So it's good that you escaped.
Yeah, true. It could have been someone trying to test the limits. Like, that's the other thing. What if I had said, oh, I'm headed home, and decided to walk the other direction, which is dead, towards my house, you know? Like,
right.
Ugh, I don't know.
Ugh. Smart Sunny. Also, just go to Let's Not Meet and submit your story. I'll upvote it. Promise. I'll give you gold. Damn, that's scary. That makes me think of. Well, it makes me think of a couple of things. It makes me think of one story that isn't like scary. It's just really funny about a date that I had, and it also makes me think about something else. I think I should talk about the second one. So very briefly, I had a stalker when I was in college.
Oh my god.
This is a true fact. This happened.
This has just turned into true scary stories.
I know.
Sunny and Andre.
We need to rename this episode. Okay, no. So so I went to community college before I transferred to a four-year college, and my first year of community college, so right out of high school, I was 18, and so this must have been like, what, 12 years ago, because I'm 30 now. So I was 18, and I was leaving a class one day, and this guy approaches me, and he looks exactly like what you think he looks like. He's like tall, skinny, slanky, like black greasy hair, you know, pimply face, whatever. And he approaches me and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And he starts basically flirting with me, to keep it brief. And I'm like, "Okay, I'm good, thanks, King, but no." And so then I keep walking, and I go to the cafeteria and I'm eating my shit, and then I realize that this guy has sat a couple tables away from me, which, like, whatever, but I can tell that he's just staring at me now, and I'm like, okay, girl, this is getting Let's Not Meet vibes. So I get my food, I basically like leave cafeteria, just eat it at the classroom or something, whatever, and that's that day. So things like that keep happening that whole week. That was on a Monday. That whole week, and by like day 5, right, Friday, I'm just tired, and I keep seeing this guy every day. Like I'll be in a hallway, and he'll just like appear out of like left field, out of nowhere, and be like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Ah!" It's literally like a jump scare like style kind of situation, and he would like. Yeah, like I think the creepiest thing was like one day I was like exiting the bathroom, and he was like there, like standing on one next like standing next to one of the walls next to like a vending machine, basically waiting for me to get out. He was like, "Hi," and I'm like, it was never like a menacing tone, but it was always creepy, obviously, because this guy just fucking followed me.
Yeah.
So, I actually don't really want to say how I took care of this. I'll just say that I was like, you know what? I'll just say I took a more aggressive route.
Oh my god!
You would think.
Wait.
And he left me alone. So listen, you know, just old timey style. It worked.
Hell yeah! Okay, I'm definitely gonna ask more
Um,
about that later.
yeah, you can. But yeah. So that's that story.
Wow.
I had a stalker until I was like, I don't want one anymore.
You're like, I'm
So
gonna
that's
bring this
that.
back to the store. Not really what I thought it would
Yes.
be.
Now, oh my god, wait, whose turn is it to read? Because I have a story.
Oh, okay, go for it.
Okay. So this is my last Let's Stop Me story, and it
Mm.
is called "Gay Hookup Gone Wrong."
How does that sound
And
like the
I'm just
title
gonna
of a porn?
this one. I know. I mean, no, but this one's actually like. I feel like this one is probably the scariest of the three.
Mm.
And it is very okay. So I'm just gonna go into it. So there's this case in the news about a young man who was found dead nearby the Everglades here in South Florida after, according to friends, meeting up with a guy he contacted on the internet, and it just reminded me of a very unusual and scary experience that I had. Which, like, quick segue, I know that
Mm.
there is such a thing as there is like the grinder killer is a thing. This was a thing a couple of years ago. This is I don't know if he's referring to this, but maybe we'll like do an episode on this some other time. But there was
Mm.
like a guy, I think it was from Florida, that was killing a bunch of young men, luring them in through Tinder, and then they get to the house and he'd kill them.
Oh my
This is a
gosh.
real thing.
And you know what? That is so scary because it's already. Dang, that's just awful. Ugh. But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's kind of crazy how easy grinder makes it for that to happen
Mm,
though. And
yeah. Mm.
it also brings up this conversation of like if you're going on a hookup, like I don't know, bitch, bring pepper spray. Like you really never you're going to a stranger's home. Like
Yeah,
hello.
totally, totally.
Um. So anyway, so this guy says I was 21 or 22 when I met this guy in a gay hookup site. I'm a big guy, over 6 feet and 200 pounds, in good shape, especially back then. This guy was, however, even bigger than me, which is probably the reason why I was so eager to meet up with him. This guy was a giant, near the 7 foot mark. Okay, so Jared. He was a Christian music singer with a record deal. I really wish I could remember his name. Anyways, this struck me as odd, and after a little bit of small talk and me teasing him about a Christian music singer fucking man on the side, we decided to hit the road. After the bar we were at, which was in the corner of my house, we decided to go to his house. He told me he lived in Kendall and that he had a place for himself. Kendall is a busy area with lots of townhomes and such, so I wasn't worried. However, after driving for a while, I noticed that he takes to the Redlands, which is a rural area. I thought maybe he was taking a shortcut, but after a while, it was clear he wasn't going anywhere, so I told him that I thought we were going to Kendall, to which he didn't say anything about. Completely mute, just driving without even glancing at me. By this point, there's nothing but a two-lane street and darkness with no cars in front or behind us.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
god, I hate this. Is so don't get in strangers' cars. Okay, like you don't you definitely don't have. Okay, you already put yourself in enough danger by going to a stranger's home if they are hosting the hookup. I always recommend you host. Well, actually no. I always recommend you do go to strangers' homes if you're gonna have a hookup because if this person's a creep, you don't want them to know where you live.
Mm,
However, either one has their risks, right? Because by going to a
yeah.
stranger's home, like you're going to a stranger's home.
Yeah, definitely
Um,
give someone else the address you're going to or something, you know?
right. I mean, still out of the two options, I think it's better for you to not use your home. Whatever.
Mm.
Okay, but that that's you already put yourself in enough danger by going to a stranger's home. Don't also get in their car. You don't need their car. Take an Uber. Take your own car. Like, after the hookup, if they want to like take you somewhere and you already have bad vibes, like be like, no, I'm good. I can get my own lunch. Like, just don't. I've never had a hookup, and I know these things. Like you, just people. Anyway, okay. However, I will tell you this. I myself broke this rule. I'm very stupid though. So when I was 17, I was on this date with this guy that was like, I don't know, 21, and which the whole date in itself, pretty funny, pretty terrible. I'll tell you about it later. But the scary part was my dumbass brain was like, we finished our date at like a Starbucks, and the guy was like, "Oh, when I go do something else, like walk around the park." And there was like a dog park nearby, and I was like, "Sure." I didn't have my own car at the time, so he was like, "Okay, let's go. I'll give you a ride. Let's go to the park." I got on his car, and we went to the park. Turns out he wasn't a killer. He did look like one though, lots of tattoos, but he wasn't a killer. But there's no way I could have known that. I did something stupid. People don't do that.
Mm.
I could have gotten killed by this handsome guy. So, um, you know, I mean, if you're gonna get killed, better get killed by someone handsome than someone ugly. But still, Not the way to go. Okay, that's not the thesis. Let's continue. So
Absolutely.
this guy says that there's nothing but darkness and whatever now, and he says that he doesn't like that and that he wants to go back to the city. He tells me that he knows a spot around here, and I tell him that I won't do anything in a car parked on a dead end street. Not only is it trashy, which T, and
Mm.
uncomfortable, but also against the law. He says that I'm not going to jail for sucking dick. So he tells me that there's nothing. That's the attitude, King. That is the attitude. So he tells me that there's nothing to worry about. There's not even houses around, which alerts me. At that point, I'm really thinking, what if this guy is like a Christian singer, but he's like a religious maniac murdering gay men in the middle of nowhere? I keep insisting that I want to go back, and he's flat out ignoring me. I try to open the door, and it is locked. I say that I want to get off to stop the car, and he won't even turn around to look at me.
Dude,
At
that's
this point,
the
it is,
most terrifying thing.
dude, it's weird because, like, the way the story ends, the guy doesn't, I don't know, you'll see,
Mm.
doesn't seem like a killer necessarily, but, like, in that moment, there's no other way for you to
Oh,
react but to assume that this
absolutely.
person is
Dude,
gonna
I
kill
would
you.
go full
Like,
terror mode. Like, I can't even guarantee what I would do. You know? Just,
yeah.
whew, that's just
I mean, while
terrifying.
reading this story, even before I read what he did, I knew in my head, I was like, yeah, I would go full terror mode
Yeah.
too, and probably if I see nothing else to do, just exit the car in motion. Fuck it.
Yeah. No, the second
Like,
that he ignores what you're saying, doors are locked, you're isolated, even reading that in the story, it's like my blood ran cold, you know? That's just the
I know,
moment that switch turns on where it's like, am
I
I gonna
know.
survive this?
And this guy's 6 foot to 100 pounds. But the thing is that it doesn't matter, right?
Hmm.
Because size is relative. Like, yeah, he's huge, but turns out he's going on a date with Jared, which is just, yeah. So like, because this guy's 7 foot, um, so relative, right? So anyway, oh my god, where was I? So he says that he wants to get out the car, keeps insisting. The guy doesn't even look at him. At this point, it is clear to me that his intentions with me aren't the nicest ones, well apart from what I was expecting. He was clearly not intimidated by me, and he was so calm that all I could think about was that he had done it before. By now, he's pulling into a dirt road. That's when I realized that I had to do something and that my life was in jeopardy. I'm pretty sure that at this point I had lost it a little bit, but I didn't care. I didn't care to look composed or unafraid like I had been for most of the ride. The only thing I can think of is hitting him, taking whatever beating could come after from such a beast. But suddenly I see his, which actually I think it's a terrible idea. This guy's driving. You could die.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like if you beat the driver, like the car could go out of control. You could die. So
Mm.
don't beat him up. Um, he says, right in between us, I saw his phone, this big ass smartphone, right in between, connected to the car charger. I grab it and immediately dial 911. He's yelling at me and asking me what the fuck I'm doing and to give him the phone. The 911 dispatcher is already on the line with me, and we both can hear her, but I'm just yelling back at him to let me out of the car, to which he proceeds. I step out with his phone still in hand. That's a move. And he steps out as well, yelling that I give him back his phone. I throw it at him from the other side of the car. He mumbles something, gets in the car, and furiously speeds away. I I don't know. I mean, that's it. That's an idea to grab a phone if you see one and call 911. But I don't know. I feel like this is gonna pull a knife on you. I would just try to get my body as far away from this person as possible, and I
Mm.
think that would involve just exiting the
The thing
car
is
in
though, what
motion.
if he's
I don't know
going
about
like
what he
50
did.
or 60 miles an hour and you can't? Or, you know,
That's
what if you
true.
jump out and then he backs the car up and continue, you know?
Okay, he did fear this. That is very smart, Sunny. So yeah, so maybe I need to rethink my strategy. But he says, there I am at 1 in the morning, alone in the middle of nowhere on a dirt road, hiding behind the bushes, hoping he doesn't come back. My heart stopping with every headlight that I see approaching from far away, while I wait for my
Mm.
friend to pick me up. So I guess he had his own phone still in his pocket.
Mm. Mm.
Otherwise, how did he contact his friend to pick him
He
up?
must have, yeah.
In which case, why not use your own phone to call him? I guess because if you took that phone, then you really are fucked. So I guess it would
Mm.
make sense to use the guy's phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
Because if you take out your phone in the car to call 911, the guy can just grab that phone, maybe kick you out of the car, and now you really have no phone.
Mm.
um, okay. So he says, sometimes I feel like maybe I overreacted. I didn't want to say anything because of this same reason, but then again, I see cases like this on TV, and I'm really grateful for all the cheesy slasher films and the scary internet stories that I grew up reading. I do not think he overreacted. I
Oh,
don't.
not at all. I think something very, very bad would have happened had he not done what he did.
Yeah, like even if he did just one sex and wasn't gonna kill him, it was gonna be rape, 100%.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. Again, don't think he overreacted. I just, I don't know if that was the best thing to do, but I guess it is. Like you said, like if you just exit the car in motion and it's going really fast, maybe you'll just die. So, and again, he could just come back. So maybe it is a good idea that he tried contacting the authorities before even, risking it and exiting the car and risking him, coming back to get him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, well,
It's
that's
so
all I have.
scary. You know, that actually, okay, that reminds me of a Reddit story I read a while back, so I'm not going to recall it
Mm-hmm.
perfectly, but it's a really good one. Um, and it was in response to this question that was like, what's the closest you've ever come to dying? And this
Mm.
one person, this one user had responded, and she had said, one day I was walking and it was really late in this neighborhood. A car slowed down next to me, and a man opened the window and asked if I wanted to ride. And I said no. And the window closed and he kept driving. But I got a really weird feeling from the guy who was in that car. So instead of continuing, I hid like underneath the car in someone's driveway. So
Mm.
then she says, a couple minutes later, the car came back and it parked somewhere, and the guy got out and took out a flashlight and was walking around yelling for her. And then after a while of that, he gets back in the car and drives off. And a few days later, she sees his name in the paper as like someone who's murdered a couple of people locally. Um, that one was
Mm.
terrifying to me because it's like, had she not hidden and just stayed walking on her route, he would have come back for her. You know? That's
Dude,
like,
follow your
dude,
gut.
that's look over your shoulder type stuff. Yeah, yeah. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, I might be able to find that story at some point. But I do have another fictional story that is pretty fun if you want to. Um,
Yes, but before
mm.
that, what's the closest you've come to dying, Sonny?
Ooh. Um,
I can tell you mine while you think
yes, you
if you
should tell
want.
me yours.
The closest I came to dying is when I was, I think, 8. My mom was walking my brother and I to school. It's the, it's the lamest thing. I mean, it's. I didn't look both sides of the road, and I started walking before there was like a light, so cars were stopped. I started walking before the light for me to walk
Mm.
was on, and this bus like came right in front of me, like parallel to me. It almost hit me basically. So I had put a foot off the sidewalk and was walking on the street now, like 1 foot on the street, and this bus like parallel to me, right,
Oh,
just like boom, went right
dang.
through. Yeah, so my mom was like, ah. So
I can only imagine.
it's yeah. I mean, another similar story to that, but somehow I think this one's less scary. I don't know why I think that though. Is
Mm.
one day I was like crossing a road, and it was my time to go. So this car was wrong for doing this, but I was gonna cross. This car was to my left, and it was making a right turn. So it like like put itself in front of me, and I had like a foot on the street already. I was like walking home from school, and this car ran over my left foot.
Oh my
Um,
god.
one of the tires did, yeah, and yeah, I guess I'm not as traumatized by that one in hindsight because it wasn't a big ass bus and
Mm.
the car wasn't going that fast and my foot recovered pretty well, but
Mm.
I got my foot ran over. What the fuck?
Damn. Yeah. You know, now that you mention it, there have definitely been a couple of occasions for me where I haven't been paying attention and started to go, and a friend or family member has like pulled me back. And I feel like at
Mm,
least one of those occasions has been like, oh wait, I maybe could have died if you hadn't done that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
um, yeah, I feel like one time it might have been with a train or something.
Ooh,
Yeah, something.
that's
Yeah, I want to say I was in Sacramento or something, and it was just like a public, I don't know, light rail or something similar that we were crossing. I don't know, but yes, that's a
wow. That's
little.
very
Mm,
Final Destination, Sunny. A train. Wow.
yeah,
Anyway, what's
yeah.
your story?
I don't know if anything super distinct comes to mind.
No, 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 no. I meant.
Oh, oh,
It's okay. I don't need you to relieve all your traumas that you clearly don't want to relive. I'll just stick with the train story. I meant your Reddit story.
oh. Okay, okay, gotcha, gotcha. I'll go for it. It's somewhat long, but not too long, so I think it should be good. Um,
Go ahead.
the title is "I'm a Cam Girl." Last night, I had a terrifying Skype call with a client.
Ooh.
So it starts out. I'm a cam girl. Most of my income comes from private Skype calls with clients. I charge $150 an hour, though most don't last anywhere near that long. Each session is a surprise. I've had a guy scream that I was a fucking ugly whore, a guy ask how my day was going, and actually mean it, and a girl asked me my bra size so she could send me lingerie, and then it has in parentheses, question mark, question mark, question mark. Last night was by far my weirdest session. The guy's Skype name was Matthew XXXXXXXXX. His call name came in, I just love that. His call came in at 11 p.m. on the dot. I adjusted my breasts in their bra, put on my most seductive expression, and pressed accept. A man's crotch filled the screen. That was actually more usual than unusual. The weird thing was that he was fully clothed. Okay, he likes a little mystery. I can respect that, I thought. I glanced at his hoodie and jeans. That's more than a little mystery, though. He's dressed for below freezing weather over there. Hi there, I said, twirling a lock of curly brown hair around my finger. He didn't reply. His hands remained stiffly in the hoodie's pockets. No bulge made an appearance through his jeans. What are you up to tonight, babe? I continued, my ego deflating slightly. I turned to lay on my side, letting my right breast shift slightly out of my bra. He just sat there in that plastic chair, motionless, silent. I couldn't even hear him breathe. If I were there right now, what would you do to me? Nothing. It's silence. You're no fun, I thought. Some of my calls were fun. There were a few bearded beauties in my list of regulars that gave me butterflies. The rest weren't fun, but they were at least exciting in some way. My hand hovered over the hang-up button. But curiosity got the better of me. Are you even there? I asked. It was bad form to break character, but I couldn't help it. I wanted to know why I wasn't getting any reaction from this guy. Why did he even book a session with me? Maybe he's trying to make you feel bad about yourself. Maybe he wants to show you just how unattractive you are. That thought pinged sharply in my head. Why did you even book a session with me? I blurted out before I could stop myself. As if to answer my question, the camera started zooming out. In the grainy video, the rest of his chest and legs came into view. Thick hoodie, wrinkled jeans, covering every square inch of skin. Who does that for a sex Skype call? The camera continued zooming out, slowly. I can't wait to see his face. I bet he's not even hot. A bit of white skin showed, then a slender, elegant neck, and a smooth, featureless face. Holy shit! I jumped back from the screen. It was a mannequin, just like the ones at the mall, dressed up in a hoodie and jeans. It was
I thought it was Slenderman for a second. I was like, oh, this is a Slenderman story. We stand. Creepypasta.
It was propped up on a plastic chair in what looked like a basement from the gray cinder blocks and cement floor. The camera jiggled and lifted. Hey you, I yelled. The fucking creep was trying to scare me, and I wanted to prove that he didn't. Yeah, you, holding the camera. What the fuck do you think you're doing? I should have just hung up then, because what I saw next haunts me still today. A second mannequin sat in the corner of the basement. At first it was just a blurry figure, but as the camera lurched forward, it came into focus. A curly brown wig sat atop its head. A tight green tee was pulled over its torso. A dark pair of jeans was pulled over its legs. On its feet were ankle boots. The exact outfit I'd been wearing earlier that day. Who the fucker? Click. He disconnected the call. I sat at my computer shaking. I checked the locks, closed the curtains, and took off my lingerie. Then I flopped on the bed, stark naked, and cried my eyes out in a pillow. 20 minutes later, my phone rang. Ring, ring. I slowly pulled myself out of bed and picked it up. Mom flashed on the screen. Hi, Mom. My voice wavered as I considered telling her everything. But she doesn't even know I'm a cam girl. I swallowed the cry that threatened to burst forth and said, What's up? Are you in our backyard right now? What? No. But I see you standing out there by the rose bushes. It's not me, Mom. I'm in my apartment. Well, then there's someone at the edge of the yard who looks just like you. Her voice faded from the phone as she called out the window. Hey, do you need help? She paused. She's just standing there, Casey, not even moving. Maybe I should go out there. No, I yelled. Mom, don't. No, it's the mannequin. That crazy fuck knows where my parents live. He's just trying to scare me. I'm gonna call out to them again, see if she needs help or something. Mom, no, lock the doors and call the police. She didn't reply. Mom? Dead silence on the other line. Then, She's right at the window now, she paused. It's a mannequin, Casey. Crash. The line went dead. That's it.
Ah! That's it! No! No!
Yeah.
I need to know what happened.
Right?
Damn, that's a good story. Wow.
Right? Yeah.
Plot twist: the mannequins are alive, and a mannequin was filming the whole thing.
That would be pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean that would be pretty scary. Damn, I love that story. Yeah, it's not like completely connected to like sex necessarily because, but I mean, but the cam girl angle that does help. That's a good ass story. I love that. That's really good.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that.
Wish I had
Yeah.
written it myself.
Plot twist: Sunny is a cam girl. Oh my god. Wow. Well, I'm not a cam boy, but I do have an OnlyFans. So everyone, please go subscribe to my OnlyFans. $5 off this month. No. Damn, that was good.
I'm glad.
Thank you, everyone.
Good stories this week.
Yeah, I hope you liked this episode. I hope we entertained you. If we did, please let us know by actually, I don't ask for this often, but leave us a review, especially on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to leave us a review, please do so there. If you have any future episode ideas, please do let us know by DMing us at Talk Scary on Twitter and Instagram, or at Scary Talk on our Facebook page. And yeah, Sunny, anything else?
No, but thanks for a great session. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening. Remember, I don't know, death is around every corner. The Mothman is real. Don't eat any large meals before bedtime. Aliens are in your toilet. Be scared of everything. We'll all die one day. It's okay. We love you. Thank you for listening. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.